we can already tell that today is going to be a volatile day. It's kind of showing us already, looking at our market, that we are probably going to see a pretty volatile day. What is up? What's up, man? So let's start our charting. Let's just start looking at what we got. I got my Asia high up here at 10:30 p.m. that we came up and swept. Asia low down here at like, what time is this? 8:45 p.m. Which now we have swept that low as well. Now I want to look at London high, London low. So London high, we're going to see, looks like we have it up here at about 2:15 a.m. Good morning, Jack. About 2:15 a.m. So we got that London high. And then we got our London low. It's down here at around 4 a.m. So we've swept both London high, London low, Asia high, London low on both sides. And what we've done on the 15-minute is create this bearish breaker pattern. But let's go into our higher time frames first and check it out. So remember this daily imbalance I've been talking about, this one right here, bearish imbalance. Look at that reaction we've been getting off of it so far. A lot of reaction to the downside. Good morning, guys. So a lot of reaction off this bearish imbalance up top on the daily. You can see we also have that 4-hour imbalance up top as well that we're reacting off of. Then going down to the 1 hour, we created a 1 hour bearish breaker as well. We get this high, low, higher, high displacement of the low here. Okay, so this lowest down close candle here would be that hourly bearish breaker. So I would want to see what we do if we're going to trade back into that at all. And then in terms of our external draw on liquidity, right, we've got the swing low down on the 4 hour and the 1 hour down here. So that's a sell side draw down there. We've got our bullish fair value gap down here as well. So a lot of liquidity resting down here for our busy. So that's our external sell side liquidity here. And then we obviously have these lows down here as another external sell side level. And then in terms of our buy side, we see the high up here as a buy side level, which is our previous, or not previous day high, but let's look at daily again. Let's look at our daily. So we've already taken out our previous day high, and then formed today's high, so high of the day, which is that external level up top, and then obviously all-time highs. But so far, looking at market open, it looks like we've gotten a very strong reaction off of our bearish imbalances like we did yesterday, and it's looking like we're looking pretty bearish right now. Let's look at our weekly candle since it is our last day. Overall, we did do what we expected. We did bounce off that weekly bullish fair value gap. And let's see if we're going to end the week bullish or bearish here. Right now, we're looking pretty bearish to start the day, creating a reversal pattern at the top on multiple time frames. On the hourly, on the 30-minute, we can see that. And then on the 15-minute as well, we see the 15-minute bearish breaker. And then we've got some more internal sell side liquidity levels like this swing low down here. And like these equal lows down here. Right, so a lot of sell side liquidity to be taken. Let's see if this bearish trend is going to be a thing, if we're really going to continue to the downside. Or if this is just going to be that initial fake out move to open the market. I'm going to go for buy side. Right now, to me, our price action looks very bearish, creating a reversal pattern early this morning, and we've been dropping ever since. So very bearish to me right now until I'm proven otherwise. The one thing I was looking at was that we came down and took out that London low and Asia low, and I was looking to see, are we going to reverse back to the highs after taking out these external draws on liquidity, right? This London low and this Asia low. Not necessarily external draws, but strong draws on liquidity. So far we've taken them and we have not seen any kind of reversal. We see that Asia low did not displace. We did not displace Asia low here on ES. We did on NQ. See if we have any divergence down at the lows here. Let's look down here. Doesn't look like we have too much divergence here. We've got one divergence with this low all the way down here that NQ took out and ES hasn't. Good morning, good morning. So right now we're seeing that initial drop, and then we're seeing us try to break structure back to the upside here, maybe a power of 3. So I'm looking at that as well. Again, today is going to be volatile. You're probably going to see me scaling down a little bit. I'll only be adding into bigger positions if I have a ton of confluence and if the market is not moving 100 ticks per 1 minute candle. But if we see the market moving like we are right now with a lot of volatility, let's look at the open to the close of this candle, about 80 ticks on that 1 minute. You're going to see me being a lot more cautious. So we just broke structure to the upside. Accumulation, manipulation. We're seeing a distribution leg here. So let's see if we get that continuation up right now after seeing a strong pushback. Again, I'll be wanting to wait for that opening range candle, that first 15-minute candle to form, which I typically do. Typically wait for that candle to form. We also have some orange folder news coming out in about 8 minutes at 9:45 Eastern, and then we have a few yellow folder events going on at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we've got a few news releases. We had the presidential debate last night. It is a Friday, so there's going to be a lot of volatility in this market today. So it's going to be really important to navigate this market with caution. Again, I come into days like this with the expectation of not really trying to take a lot of trades, trying to find maybe 1 to 2 good setups. Sometimes we don't see any really solid setups on a day like this. So again, not really looking to be super aggressive right now. Want to be a lot more patient, a lot more conservative today. So we see that break of structure, and we are heading back up to VWAP on NQ right now. Let's see if we want to get a little market structure shift. Take out this high up top, this high right here, and trade back into, or trade into for the first time, into the bearish breaker on the 1 hour. And we also have this bearish breaker on the 15-minute here with this down close candle, which we are about to trade into right now. Technically a bearish unicorn because we have this 15-minute fair value gap right here. But we are looking pretty bullish right now, getting market structure shift to the upside. So I'm just waiting. Just waiting, guys. I don't want to be too aggressive today. I'm really looking to be patient. Again, we have pretty good profits on the week. I don't want to give those profits back on a very volatile Friday just because we want to trade. If I'm going to risk any of my profits this week, it has to be very, very good trade setups. So we haven't displaced this high just yet. We just touched into that 15-minute bearish for value gap, 15-minute bearish breaker. So technically a unicorn model here. High, low, higher, high, displacement of the low, fair value gap created. So a lot of resistance up top with our reversal patterns. We have that, remember, that hourly breaker up here. So today should be a very interesting day. It's one of those days where it's going to be very high risk. There will probably be some pretty high reward setups, but it's all about being patient and waiting for those setups to form and not trying to force trades into the market just because you're very eager to trade. Because you could very easily, this is a day you could very easily, if you don't focus on your risk management, you could easily give back your profits, all of your profits on the week on a day like today. Because you see the market moving so much, you think you're going to get a ton of reward on these trades, and you end up getting stopped out extremely quick because of how volatile price action is. So I'm going to wait at least for this opening range to be created. See if we want to trade below or above it. Look for a trade setup. Maybe wait for that news to play out at, that's coming up in a few minutes. We'll look for a trade setup. And we'll go from there. So we will see what NQ wants to do today. Let's look at how the VIX is opening. So far the VIX hasn't really made up its mind, isn't really doing too much yet. YM has already gotten a pump at market open as well. Pretty aggressive pump so far. Okay, we're seeing us bounce off this 1 minute bullish fair value gap here on NQ. Alright, we broke structure, we trade down into that fair value gap. Respect the fair value gap, that 50% level. Bouncing off of it right now. Let's see if we want to push through that 15-minute imbalance or not in the next few minutes. All right, so we're looking like we're trying to form this bullish structure. We're trying to push through this 15-minute bearish imbalance here. Let's see if we do. We're just a small imbalance breaker block. So still we still have a lot of resistance up here. Creating this low down here, so another level of liquidity down here. Heading up into that 1 hour bearish breaker. So I do want to see if we're going to get some resistance off of these levels. So 65 showing 2K cons. Let's see what happens once we reach that level. We got that news coming out in less than a minute now. Now we are touching into that hourly bearish breaker here. So let's see how this opening range is created. See if we want to trade above that opening range, get a reaction back to the downside. Yeah, really respecting that 1 minute bullish fair value gap, 2 minute bullish fair value gap there. So this is the 1 minute down here. What I had charted out was the 2 minute. Alright, so opening range has been created. Now we have news coming out right now. Trading above that opening range. Let's see if we want to get a reaction back to the downside here. Off of these, a lot of resistance levels. So it looks like our Chicago PMI came out positive. But I still want to see if we are going to bounce off this resistance level and start seeing those shorts step in. Or if we're going to push right through the hourly. So we displaced the 15-minute fair value gap. Touching into the 15-minute above. We're now into a premium of this dealing range here. Just touch off the 50% of that hourly bearish breaker. So if price was going to head down, this is where I would want to see it head down from. And if it's going to push right through this, then I would expect the longs to step in back to high of the day. and probably continuing pretty high today. Really just want to wait for an ideal setup. If I don't see that ideal setup, I'll stay out. Still very bullish right now. Trying to push through all of this resistance up top. Let's see how much strength it shows. Let's see how much strength it shows. All higher time frame support longs. I wouldn't necessarily say that's true. We've got a lot of imbalances up top on the daily. Bearish imbalance on the 4-hour. Imbalance on the 1-hour. We still have a lot of resistance at the top right now. And we traded above opening range. We're in a few bearish breakers. So until we can prove, yeah, we do have the bullish structure right now. I agree with that. But until we can really prove that we're going to push through all of this resistance, at least this breaker, I'm going to wait to get in any long positions. I would need to see a lot of confirmation here. We are in silver bullet, and we initially came up and grabbed a bunch of buy-side liquidity. So now I'm just waiting to see if we're really going to have enough strength to try to push through these resistance levels. And if that's the case, then we'll still have a lot of reward to be had up to the high of the day. A lot of chop on ES right now. Alright, looks like the longs are going to try to push through this. I agree, our structure is extremely bullish. We have gotten that market structure shift back to the upside. I just do not like to jump into longs when we are in a very strong resistance level. And also waiting for us to see if we create some bullish fair value gaps and trade back into them. Okay, let's see how that 5-minute closed. So 5-minute closed up top, still respecting this imbalance, but we're showing a lot of strength. And not too much pullback, but now that I'm starting to see us pushing through this level, right, is when I'd really be looking for longs. But again, we still have 5 minutes or 10 minutes left on this 15-minute candle. Like I said, guys, I'm going to be very conservative today. Very conservative, not looking to really rush any entries. My initial thought was down here, was longing after sweeping Asia and London low. Just wasn't really prepared to, wasn't really ready to jump into the longs. Yeah, this setup was good. I agree. The setup was good. But I pretty much every day wait for that first 15-minute candle to form before I trade. And it usually works out pretty well for me, so I like to stick to my plan. Has anybody jumped into these longs at all? Maybe some people have. All right, there we go. So we still got people jumping in. Nice. Good morning. How you doing? Yep, it's always nice to have a little bit of buffer. Okay, 1 minute fair value gap formed down here. Now we have this range forming, so we do want to be careful of these 1 minute fair value gaps up top, just in case we want to retrace down into a discount of the range. But if we start seeing, reactions off of this 1 minute, could be willing to look for a long opportunity up here to catch the high of the day. But I also want to be careful of us retracing a little bit further down, further down in this range, back to a discount of the range. We can see this swing high to swing low here. We have this 1 minute range. Yeah, so we still have this 15-minute bearish breaker, this hourly bearish breaker that we still haven't displaced just yet. But we are showing a lot of bullish structure. Again, I'm not ready to jump into the longs up here just yet. I do want to see if we're going to try to trade back down a little bit. But if we start getting this strong push from here, I will be looking to long. We're not showing a lot of strength yet. Showing a lot of weakness up at this point. Let's see if we want to trade down below this 1 minute. That's one reason I don't like to just jump into every 1 minute fair value gap that's formed. But sometimes we do trade into that first one and really get a reaction off of it. Like we're seeing right now, we're seeing a little bit of a reaction, but we're seeing a little bit of chop. A little bit of chop right now. I don't trust it just yet. I'm starting to like it a little more though. Alright, I'll try it out. I'll try out these longs here. I'll give them a shot. I'll just keep my stop. I'm just in half a lot. I'll keep my stop down below that fair value gap down at 20,124.50. And we're seeing that resistance now. So let's see if we get any strength to the upside. If not, I'll just cut this trade.
Order working.
I'll just cut this trade pretty early. Because we saw that initial reaction and then we saw us trade right back down. So if we don't show a lot of strength here, then I'll just cut my loss early and just get out and wait for a different setup. Alright, I'm just going to cut it.
Order cancelled.
I'm just going to cut it. We're just not showing that strength that I wanted to see right away happen. Right? And when I'm going to be aggressive like that off of a fair value gap in a premium, trying to long in a premium of a range, I like to be a little more cautious. I don't like to, if I see us not moving right away, I typically like to just cut my loss pretty early. Like that one when we came down quick, just wanted to cut my loss. Don't want to hold that to a full loss there. So we're still respecting that 1 minute fair value gap, but I'm not liking all the stalling we're seeing up at the top. So this one still could pump from here, but again, when I see that stalling, we're not really pushing through. We're not getting momentum right away. I'm just going to wait for a different setup. So typically I'm going in 2 minis to start, and I'm adding in 2 more for a full position. So yeah, we could obviously still pump from this level, but I don't like the stalling that we're doing. And since I had my entry a little bit higher since I was waiting for that reaction, I obviously had to have my stop a little bit higher than I would want. So I just, I don't want to hold that one. I do want to wait and see if we're going to get some more pullback. Maybe down to that 5-minute imbalance, down into a discount of this range. So I'm not saying that this pump won't happen from here, because we're still respecting this 1-minute imbalance, but when I see that stalling, when we're just chopping, I like to just wait. I like to just wait for a different setup. I don't like to stay in a trade when we're chopping so much. So let's see if we're still going to pump from this level, or if we're going to try to trade down into that 5-minute imbalance below. And we're about to close on the hour, so we could see us close above that breaker on the 1 hour. We could see us close above the breaker on the 15-minute. We've got about 3 minutes until the close. So I do want to see if we're going to do that or not. But just not liking this chop. I don't know if anybody is still holding on to this position. Like I said, it still could be a decent position, but I just don't like the chop. And if we end up pumping and I miss out on it, then I'm okay with that, because I didn't want to keep risk on the table when I'm seeing price action like that. So we'll see if we get that pump. Looks like we are going to. What I would have done, let's say I held this position, and let's say we do pump, I would have looked to hold this all the way to high of the day. All the way to high of the day. So we are getting that pump. Well, see, now we're a little bit choppy, so we'll see. Not liking this price action anyways. All right, looks like we're starting to pump and then not. Yeah, we do have a red folder event coming out in a minute, so be aware of that, guys. Not red folder. We have orange folder. We have an orange folder coming out. Consumer sentiment. And then a yellow folder coming out as well. So we'll probably see a little bit of volatility here. So just be aware of that. But it looks like we are going to close above on the hourly. Looks like we're going to displace our bearish breaker on the hourly and the 15-minute time frame. So let's see if we get that pump from here or not. Well, I mean, if you did get that entry that I was in, some up here, it has hit. All right, so it's hit like 50-something ticks, 55 ticks, just about. Right, so, I mean, personally, with that orange folder news event coming out, I'd probably have my either get out or keep my stop into profit at this point, or take some profit, just in case price wants to come back down aggressively, get very volatile. So we're about to close on this hourly. We're about to displace this hourly bearish breaker. So no longer valid there. 15-minute, no longer valid. Well, look at that. Look at that. I would definitely be looking to take off some profit, take off some TP here if I was still holding this position. And then I'd be looking at this high as a good TP level.
Order filled.
Uh-oh. I accidentally had my limit order set there. Oh. That was
order filled.
On a different account there. I was on my demo account. So I had a limit sell up there. So that was this morning. What I was looking at on my demo was the longs all the way from the bottom up to the high of the day. That's what I was looking at. So anyways, let's see. So we hit that level. That's exactly where I would have taken TP right there at that high. Maybe held a runner or two to try to keep holding up a little bit further. So that was a nice little pump for those of you that held. That's a very good TP level. Then we're looking at these fair value gaps above, and then that all-time highs as those next targets. I always hate hearing that order filled sound when I don't know where it came from. I'm like, uh-oh, what account is that? That's why it is very important to remember to close out all of your positions. It's a good thing it was just on a demo account. So we've taken out that high. Longs are still stepping in. And yeah, obviously, if I would have just held my stop where it was, I would have still been in this trade. I just didn't like the chop I was seeing, which is why I got out. But for those of you that are still holding, trade's looking pretty good. So what I would do at this point is, yeah, would have taken a lot of profit off at this high, maybe left a runner or two, and then I would just be trailing my stop into profit at this point. I would just be trailing my stop into profit. The news came out positive. So we're looking like we're going to see a market rally here. So at this point for me, I'd just be waiting for a pullback, waiting for us to pull back a little bit, get a good entry to try to keep catching these longs. Maybe all the way up to our all-time highs. So yeah, if I was still holding, I would just be trailing my stops into profit at this point. I would have maybe one runner left, and I would just be trailing that stop loss. And what I like to do on these kinds of trades, it's if I expect us to go to all-time highs, then maybe I'll just leave my stop pretty low and let it keep going the whole day. But I like to secure profit on these trades, so sometimes I'll just move my stop loss to like our previous low of our last candle, or a low of our previous 1 minute candle, and then I'll let the next one ride, and then I'll move my stop loss up to the next low of the candle, and I'll let that one ride. Typically what I like to do with my one runner. Or if I really, really like it, I'll just leave my stop close to break even and let it ride all the way to that next profit goal. I mean, this one's still running. This one is going crazy right now. This one is going crazy. ES is almost back to all-time highs. ES is almost back to all-time highs. And we can see on NQ we have all-time highs up here. We're getting closer. We're running right through that bearish imbalance. So we've taken out that level. We are creating a bullish breaker here. And we're not having any pullback right now. There's absolutely no pullback. Yeah, so I mean, this is one of those where it's like, you know, it can be very hard not to have that FOMO in situations like this, right? If you didn't hold this position. But, you know, I made my decision, so I got to live with it. I got to live with my decision. I'm not going to be upset about it. It is what it is. Let's go, guys. Let's go. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. Man, I love it. I love it. So, I mean, at this rate, I expect us to go to all-time highs. Yeah, you are right, Corona. And I'm waiting for a pullback. Just waiting for a pullback. You know, looking at these 1 minute fair value gaps as potential entry levels. But we're not wanting to pull back at all. So this is one that I would try to ride all the way up to all-time highs and just keep holding it. Because at this rate, we don't look like we're stopping. We see ES already almost at all-time highs. We do not look like we want to pull back. Do not look like we want to pull back at all. Let's see if we do. Let's see if we can get some pullback for us to try to find a good entry here. First candle we've seen that's actually looking somewhat bearish. So I'm just waiting patiently here, waiting to see if we're going to get that any kind of retracement. Any kind of retracement for us here. This is the first time we've looked like we might get something. Again, I don't want to chase at the top. I don't want to chase at the top just for us to pull back and go to the level we wanted to see us come back to, and then miss out on that trade because of it. So we'll see. We form a 1 minute order block. Okay, now we're starting to kind of stall up here. We're starting to kind of stall. We have the 1 minute order block. Could see us use this as support. Yes, so we have a lot of imbalances up here. We've got this 4 hour up top. We've got this 1 hour right here as well. So a lot of bearish imbalances, but with the strength we're showing right now, I wouldn't expect us to really... I'm not too worried about those bearish imbalances now that we've seen this crazy pump. But I'm really just waiting for some kind of decent entry to where, yeah, you could try to chase these longs from up here, and yeah, they could still play. But when we see stalling like this, this is not when I want to get into the position. I want to wait for us to really try to trade back a little bit, rebalance some of the market. What's up, Shosky? So I was in a long position down here, and I sold it as we started to move down because of the chop, and I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. And you know, obviously in hindsight, yeah, I wish I would have held, but I'm not going to get FOMO over it. A lot of people did hold, so the longs have really given a lot of people a big day today, which is awesome. Amazing. Again, this could act as support here, and we could really bounce from this level. I just don't love jumping in when we're finally seeing stalling. Would want to see us trade down a little bit. But if you want to, you know, get an entry from here, this could be still a support level to enter off of. I'd personally rather wait for us to pull back into a fair value gap. But yeah, I mean, you can see we keep going. Doesn't look like we're really trying to pull back at all. We'll see what we do here. Still stalling at these imbalances. ES is almost at the all-time high already. ES is very close to taking out that all-time high. I'm really just waiting for NQ to get some kind of pullback. I'm not going to chase. I'm not going to get caught in a trap. And if we keep running and I don't get an entry, then that's just, you know, it is what it is. So this is the most stalling we've seen on this strong move up so far. Showing a lot of long wicks here though. Let's see if we're going to push through this level. You can see we're really struggling to. It looks like NQ wants to push through, but that 4 hour, 1 hour imbalance are really holding us down right now. Which is what I would want to see for us to get a nice pullback to get an entry. As I said, we still could use that 1 minute support or that 1 minute order block as support. Just not an entry I really wanted to take. So, I mean, yeah, from here we still have until all-time highs. Like, let's say you did get an entry off that support level, off that 1 minute order block. That's still 500 plus ticks away. So there's still a lot of reward to be had here. And I don't expect us to go to that level right now. I expect us to get some kind of pullback before we end up going back to all-time highs. So that's just what I'm waiting for. We'll see if we get that. See if we get that. Just waiting. Is anybody still holding that initial long that we got into? Anybody still holding a runner or anything? Not still holding. So, I mean, yeah, this one keeps going. This one really keeps going. Not really slowing down too much. Not really slowing down. But yeah, from that initial entry that I had, and if you didn't hold this position, don't get FOMO by maybe doing this. So I mean, we got an entry somewhere around there. Yeah, I mean, 500 plus ticks from our initial entry. So hopefully some of you still held that. I'm hoping some of you still held that. Obviously, in hindsight, I wish I would have held it, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. Yeah, we keep going. So, again, I would expect some kind of pullback before reaching all-time highs. Some kind of pullback before reaching all-time highs is what I want to see to be able to get involved. We're not seeing any pullback just yet. Maybe here, long wick to the upside, strong pullback here. So now we have this big old dealing range. We've got this swing low all the way to if we form a swing high up here. All the way up here. So we've got that one. And then we've got this 1 minute range as well. From the swing low down here to the swing high up here. All the way down to here. So there's potential for us to pull back pretty strong. Get into a good, trade back into a good level for us to take long. Let's look over here at the 4 hour again. Trading further up into that 4 hour imbalance. Trading into that 1 hour bearish imbalance. But I don't really expect those to hold us. I expect us to get a little bit of resistance off them, get some pullback, and then push right through. No, I would not short this market at all. unless I saw a real market structure shift back to the downside, I would not be shorting this. I would just wait for a pullback to get back in the longs. Wait for us to trade back maybe into this support level, maybe all the way back to a discount of this range. We're seeing strong pullback here. I still would not want to short this at all. Unless I really saw a clear level of entry that really, shows me that we're going to head down maybe further than that 0.5 level. Okay, we're in that 5-minute fair value gap now. 4-minute gap, 3-minute gap, 2-minute gap, 1-minute gap. So now we have all these support levels, but we're showing a lot of bearish momentum here. So I would need to see us trade down maybe into a discount of this range, or start showing, that we're going to bounce off of these imbalances to get back in the longs. Not really seeing enough right now. Not seeing enough just yet. Look at ES over here. Yeah, ES has almost gone to the all-time high. Very close. So yeah, I expect NQ and ES to take out all-time high today. It's just a matter of when. So we are starting to show support. A little bit of support at these levels. Let's see if we're going to try to push right through them. Try to trade down into a discount or start reacting more off these fair value gaps. So we can see that 5-minute fair value gap here. All of these fair value gaps that are looking to be balanced. But when I see a range like this and I see a strong pullback, I am looking for that good opportunity to jump back into the longs. Sometimes I do want to wait for us to come back down into a discount. And here's the deal. We still have a lot of reward up until all-time high, so I'm not too worried. Not too worried. Just waiting. I'll be patient for this one. With this kind of pullback, I would expect us to try to trade down, possibly down to that discount level. Which is why you don't see me trying to jump into any entries just yet. We are showing a lot of support here. We haven't been able to push through this imbalance so far. Let's see if these longs want to start stepping in here. Okay, we've got a few bearish imbalances above. Do want to see if we're going to start reacting off of those. If we start displacing and pushing right through those, then I would expect the longs to step right back in. So I do want to see if we're going to start trying to inverse these fair value gaps, which it looks like we're starting to. So I'm going to start looking for long entries here. If we can start to inverse, which it looked like we were starting to inverse, let's see if we can continue to try to inverse. Still respecting our 2-minute imbalance. But this order block, you can see we still have not displaced that 1-minute order block that we bounced from. So we're showing a lot of bullish momentum here. A lot of support down here. But I do just want to start seeing these bearish imbalances up top start getting displaced. So that's what I'm waiting for here. Let's see. For those of you that did catch that full move, though, or that caught a lot of that move, there really is no need to continue trading. I think a lot of you have had a very big day if you did hold on to this long. So just, if you know, be mindful of that. Don't give all your profits back to the market today after catching a great trade. If I caught that trade, if I didn't sell, I would not be trading anymore, guys. I would be done for the day. Catching a move like that on a Friday, that's all you really need. Okay, so we're looking very bullish here. Very, very bullish. It looks like we're going to push right back. Just still haven't really found an entry I really want to take. No, I'm not in right now. I just haven't found an entry I really want to take. I'm not seeing as much follow through as I expected from that level. So just kind of waiting for that next entry. Let's say ES takes out that all-time high and then starts coming back down. Then that's when I would expect a strong pullback from NQ. Seeing that divergence, and then I would expect NQ to go for that high later on. Typically what we see is when one index takes out that all-time high and the other one doesn't, we see a lot of pullback, and then we see that other index go for that high later on. Okay, so 5-minute candle closed. Bullish candle, but not a lot of follow through. So really just waiting. We don't really have any fair value gap entries here, except for down below when we did trade into that 5-minute. We traded into a few imbalances below there. All right, so the entries, yeah, from down here could have been good, but wasn't really the entry I was looking for. So let's see what happens when we trade back into this 1-minute bullish order block. If we're going to try to push right through it or start reacting off of it again. We have made a lower high now. Okay, so we haven't touched off of it, but we're starting to see a little bit of a bounce again. Just want to see something more. I want to see a little more. Honestly, what I think I'm going to start doing is I think I'm going to try to open a different live account and just start swing trading like on the weekly time frame, because I called this out on Sunday, this exact thing, trading into that imbalance and then longing, right? So just trying to take those. I might just start holding on to, trading really light and just holding on to that swing trade for a long time. I'm starting to like the longs a little bit more here. Yeah, I mean, I'm buying stonks too, but full port on Disney. I've seen that, didn't someone just dump a ton of money into Disney? I think it was Disney, like 200 mil or something. Which I guess depends on Vail Resorts, huh? Oh, okay. Okay, so back into that. I just don't like all this choppiness we're seeing right now. We're trading back into that support level, that 1 minute order block. I mean, I would expect us to try to trade through that right now, but we'll see if we react off of it again. We've tested it a few times. I would expect us to try to head down back into the discount here. Which it looks like we're trying to do now. Trying to get that break of structure. Looks like we're getting that break of structure to the downside here. But does not mean I'm going to try to short this market, guys. I will never try to short a market like this. Unless I have a very clear reversal pattern market structure shift. We see divergence right now between the lows at the lows. ES fails to take this low, NQ takes that low. Starting to like these longs a little bit here. I'm starting to like them. Haven't got an entry yet. Kind of want to jump into a long entry here after seeing that divergence. I'm going to jump into a long entry. Now the issue with this is the stop loss. Not going to have the best stop loss level. So this is another one that if we don't continue to push right away, I'll just cut my loss early. Right, but seeing that divergence and then seeing NQ and ES push, seeing us bounce off a 5 minute imbalance below. 22.1950 is where I'm going to put my stop right now.
Order working.
So that divergence is what made me really want to jump into that. We trade back into a 5 minute. The only thing I don't like is that we did close below those lows. So that's what I mean. If we start to head down aggressively, I'll just cut my position. My stop is at 22.1950. All right, so then I would just be looking to hold this back to our highs. And then back to all-time highs. But if we can't seem to push through right away, then I'll just get out of my position. So I'll look to hold all the way to our high of the day for my first TP.
Order working.
All the way up there. So far, good entry. So that TP is about 167 ticks. I did like that divergence. I just want to see more follow through. What I'm going to do is move my stop up to this previous candle low. So now my stop is at 22.24. Just lowering my risk a little bit. So now I have 30 ticks to catch 167. So it's like a 1 to 5. Let's just see if we can get that follow through here. I really liked that divergence. I liked that we pulled back into that 5-minute imbalance down below and we started to bounce off of it. A lot of imbalances below. Barely into that 15. But now I just want to see if we can get any kind of follow through here. And the VIX is still really heading down right now, so it's another confluence there. Again, you could look to take first TP at a lot of different levels. So we've hit about, now we've hit 50 ticks. So you can always look to take first TP at, you know, maybe at these highs up here. You could take first TP right now if you want to. So there's that high. That's another good TP level. So I'm still holding on to this. If we take out this high, I'll just move my stop to break even, and I'm still going to hold all the way up to here for first TP. Because I do expect this one to keep running, and I want to catch a lot of profit on this one. So let's see if we can keep running. We're kind of stalling, but I'm still liking the setup a lot. Again, could still take a first TP, guys. You don't have to hold. We've hit 63 ticks. So that's still another 2 to 1, 1 to 2 risk to reward there with a 30 tick stop. I'm willing to leave my risk on the table right now for this setup just because of our structure that we're seeing looks very nice. We do have a little bit of divergence up here with ES taking out that high and NQ not taking it out, but it was a more obvious divergence down low, and we still are very bullish overall, and I still want to see these long step in. And we got that pullback into multiple time frames, multiple imbalances, which is why I like this trade a lot. A lot of confirmation on, a lot of confluence there. Just see if we can get that follow through. And like I said, still, if you took TP up here, it's still a 1 to 2, so still a good level to take TP. We're obviously having a lot of pullback here. We'll see if we're going to start getting downward momentum. I don't want to see that happen. If it does, it happens. And that's just the risk I was willing to take for this trade. If I get stopped out, that's the risk I was willing to take. I really wanted to see that one play all the way out. But if we're going to start ranging and stuff, then I'm going to want to wait for a different entry. So we're heading back down. We might stop me out here. Let's see, just a 30 tick stop, so I'm not too worried about it. Half a lot, half a position. Very close there to stopping me, about a tick away from stopping me out on that. All right, so it got me there. Again, I really liked that setup. I had a lot of confluence. We had pullback into multiple imbalances. There, and we just didn't see that follow through. And yeah, I could have taken profit at a 1 to 2, could have taken that at 60 ticks, but I really wanted to hold that one through because I did see the potential, which is just the risk I was willing to take for this trade. So not upset about it.
Order cancelled.
I canceled that limit order up there. So yeah, we didn't get that follow through. I don't know if anybody took their TP at a 1 to 2. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. So yeah, now we're heading back down. Now we're just kind of doing a little bit of ranging here. So that was looking very good. It was looking like a very solid setup. Had multiple confluences on that one. Just didn't want to get that follow through. So now I'll see what we do once we trade back into a discount of this range here. So now we're really trading into that 15-minute imbalance. More divergence at the lows. So I'm still looking for long setups, guys. Still looking for longs. I'm not looking to short this. I know we've made lower lows, lower highs, but I still am not looking to short this. Still have a lot of divergence at the bottom. ES is still failing to take out these lows here. Man, who told me to sell my initial long? I shouldn't have listened to the voices. I shouldn't have listened to the voices in my head. Alright, so now we're almost back into a discount of that range. This is that range I'm talking about on the 1 minute, but we still have our AM range pretty far down. So I'll be looking probably to take one more trade. If that trade doesn't work out, or if it does work out, I'll probably call it either way. And if there's not another setup, then I won't take another trade. So we still have a ton of divergence down here. But now I'm not really trusting this as much because of what happened the last time. Because we didn't see that full follow through like I wanted to see. But we still see ES failing to take out these lows while NQ is sweeping them. But just looking at this right now, we're seeing a lot of range. A lot of range. So we'll see how far the shorts want to drop to. We still see the VIX dropping very aggressively right now. Yeah, we are making lower highs, lower lows, right? We're making this bearish structure on NQ, but we're not making it on ES. So a lot of divergence. And we do have a lot of fair value gaps. Like I was talking about, just waiting to see on this 1 minute range if we're going to trade back into a discount, which we're close to trading into a discount on the 1 minute range. We have this bigger range all the way down to here, our AM range. That our 0.5 isn't all, it's all the way down at VWAP, so we still have a long way if we're going to trade into that one and do a discount of that range. So let's see what we do here. Just gonna patiently wait. Yes, it's starting to take out some of those lows, getting rid of that divergence. A lot of pullback on that hourly candle. So we are really reacting off those imbalances up top on our higher time frames. We do have a bullish breaker down here. Got a little low, high, lower, low. 15-minute bullish breaker down here. So that could be another, that's right in our discount. Bullish unicorn, actually. Discount of our AM range. Right at VWAP. Could be a good level to long from if we trade back down into that. So yeah, these shorts have stepped in pretty strong. Let's see if we want to come back into that breaker. And if we do, If we do trade into that breaker and we see a strong reaction off this breaker and a discount of our AM range, then that's a trade that I would look just to hold probably like the whole day, and just look to hold it all the way back up to the highs, because that is a long ways away. But we would need to see a very strong reaction off that breaker. But I do like how our levels are lining up. I like that our 0.5, our equilibrium, just below it in a discount is that breaker block. We have VWAP. We're trading back down. I really do like this setup for the longs. If we can just trade down a little bit more. Overall, we are still bullish bias. I am still bullish bias on the day. So this fib is our AM range. So it's from the high of the day to the low of the day. High of the day to the low of the day. That's our New York AM range right now. So that equilibrium is right here at 21.5625. Just below that is our breaker. So I will give those longs a shot from down here. Same thing looking at ES. We can do the same thing here. The high of ES to the low. See if ES wants to trade back down into that discount as well. So that's what I'll be waiting for. So, how are you guys doing on the day? Did most of you hold that trade, that initial long, or did most of you sell it? I would like to know, get a kind of a good grasp of where you guys are at on the day. Okay, so a few of you did sell when I sold. Crixus is up 350. Okay, all right. No FOMO. That's good. Okay, so it seems like a lot of you did sell when I sold, which, yeah, looking back on it, it's an easy way to get FOMO. But we just can't let that, I'm not going to let that get to me. Trying to cut my loss early, just in case. We were seeing that stalling. And yeah, then we got that crazy pump. So it's a bummer. It is. Obviously, in hindsight, wish I would have held. Hindsight's always 20/20. But not going to get FOMO about it. So I'm just waiting for us to trade back down into the discount of our AM range. Trade into that breaker. And then I'll probably just long the longs back to the highs of the day. Shorting one from the 1 minute OB. See how we touched into it. Could be a decent short there. We saw us respect that 1 minute fair value gap drop. Trade back up. We haven't touched into that 1 minute OB yet. Yeah, it could be a decent short. We also have that 5 minute bearish fair value gap there as well. A lot of pullback so far on this 5 minute candle. Let's see if we could find a decent short opportunity from that candle. from that 1 minute OB, 5 minute bearish fair value gap. I would need to see a nice reaction, catch it back down to that breaker, and then look to long back from that breaker. Let's see what the VIX is doing. VIX is still really dropping, so I'm still expecting these longs overall to step back in. I just want to see us trade back down to a discount. Yeah, and I think it's so important, Jack, because, you know, and here's the thing, right? I had the analysis, I had the trade setup, and just wanted to cut my loss. And yeah, a lot of people would probably let that ruin their entire trading day or ruin their entire day because they just missed out on a bunch of money. I just don't see it that way. Yeah, I missed out on that trade, but that was the decision I made. I had full control over that, so I'm not going to be mad about it. Because let's say it did come down and hit my stop, then I would have been like, well, I should have sold that early. You know, it's just one of those things. The second you start letting yourself get pissed off because you missed out on a trade, that's just not good. It's not good, because then that's when it leads into your bad habits of revenge trading or trying to chase price. You start doing things that aren't going to be good for your account. Just can't really let those emotions take control. Because obviously I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel any type of emotion from that. Because yeah, when I saw that, I was like, dang, I wish I would have held that position. Obviously. That'd be a complete lie if I said I didn't feel that. But it's how do you control that emotion? How do you react to that emotion? And for me, I started feeling that emotion, and I was like, well, that's the decision I made, so I'm going to live with it. And there hopefully will be more trading opportunities, and I'll wait for those. Doesn't mean I'm going to try to force other trades into the market that aren't really there. But now I can look at the market still with a clear mind without the emotion taking control and still find other good setups. Whereas if I let that emotion control me and I got terrible FOMO, I would probably be forcing a lot of bad trades into the market. So far, we've only tried one other trade. Hit a 1 to 2, but just, didn't see that follow through. But a lot of people, after missing out on that trade, probably would have taken a bunch of trades throughout this. And yeah, maybe some of them would have worked. You technically could have chased price on this and still won because of how much it moved up. But I'm sure a lot of people started revenge trading in all this too, trying to catch the longs in all of this, and got stopped. Right, my trade wasn't a revenge trade because I saw my levels and I really liked it. So I do think that's super important. And it's one thing if I gave back all of my profits on the week. If I did that, I'd probably be a little bit mad at myself, because I know I'm better than that. But that's not the case. So I've just been waiting to see if we're going to trade back into that 5 minute imbalance, into that 1 minute order block. So far, we haven't traded into it. So not looking for an entry just yet. I do want to see us trade into this and then see what kind of reaction we get off of it. And if we don't trade into it, well, then I'll wait for us to come down into this breaker and I'll look for longs down here. And this long could be one of those trades that still offers that same amount of reward as this one down here. All right, so shorts are coming in. Let's see if what we're gonna do once we do trade. If we do trade into this breaker, what kind of reaction we're gonna get off of it. Just patiently waiting for that to happen. We keep getting a lot of divergence between ES and NQ. ES wants to go back up. You can tell ES wants to go back up because we keep struggling to take out these lows. And we did take out these lows, but now we make another higher low when NQ is making a lower low. So ES definitely looks like it still wants to head up. The VIX is still very bearish. So overall, my bias is extremely bullish right now. Just waiting for us to tap into that breaker. So let's see if we want to do that. So the breaker exactly is, we can look at the exact coordinates here. 20,154 to 20,134.50. That's the 15-minute breaker. So right here. It's that up close candle on the 15-minute right here. Got you. And the reason for that is we see a low, a high, a lower low, strong displacement of the highs. It's technically a unicorn model here with the fair value gap overlapping. All right, and again, like this, right? I wanted to see if the shorts would come in from this level, and if I don't see it tap into that level, I'm not going to get an entry, and I'm not going to get FOMO that it did drop because it never went to that entry level I wanted to see. I wouldn't have had the confluence to take a short from here. I would want to see us tap into that level and get a reaction first. So, all right, we're almost into that breaker, almost into that unicorn, almost into that discount of that AM range. The one thing is this hourly candle. Let's look at this hourly. The hourly candle I don't love. That's some insane pullback on the hourly. We are about to close on the hour. So one thing I don't love about this. But now we are into that bullish breaker. So now I'd just be waiting to see if we're going to get a reaction off of this. And if we don't get a reaction, we push right through it. Well, then I'll be looking to take shorts all the way back down to take all the sell side liquidity. All right, so this is where I would want to start looking for longs here. Still have a lot of bearish momentum. We're still kind of pushing through. So let's see here. Bouncing off VWAP right now. Still not really getting a lot of momentum back to the upside at all. I'm starting to like that push. Starting to like that push here. So I'm going to give the longs, I'm going to give them a shot, guys. I mean, this is obviously aggressive because we're not waiting for the bearish levels to be disrespected. And we're still looking pretty bearish. So it's very aggressive, and I'm just going to keep my stop down here. This will be my last trade. I'm going to keep my stop down low. And if I get stopped out, well, I was trying to be aggressive, trying to give him a shot. 20,001 for 350. So this is going to be my last trade. Most likely last trade of the day. Still another half a lot, and if I get stopped out, well, it was just me trying to be aggressive and trying to catch these longs. Again, I could have waited. I could wait for a very strong push through back to the upside, and that's just, that's just the attempt I was trying to make, and it didn't work out, and we're still seeing that those shorts come in. So again, not the day I would have wanted, but I'm not going to let that revenge trading mindset start stepping in. If I still have a little bit of room to take another loss, but I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to put any more risk on the table. Just because I'm still well into profit on the week, I'd rather not give back all of my profits on the week. I still do expect to see if we're going to get... I still expect to see a bounce off this level in the 15. But, yeah, I might want to wait for an actual reversal pattern here. That was just me being pretty aggressive there. So we might see that reversal again. I'll probably just wait. If I'm going to take one more trade, I don't know if I will. But if I do, I'll just wait for an actual reversal to get in another trade. And right now, we're still looking extremely bearish. So this is kind of an insane day so far. We might come down and rebalance this entire market. We have like 3 minutes left on this hourly. Yeah, I mean, at this point, guys, I don't really want to put a ton of risk back into the market. Because this is that point where if you've taken a few losses, especially after seeing one of your trades play out that could have been great, this is where that point where you could let that revenge trading mindset start to step in, and then you could blow your account in literally minutes because you're so frustrated that you missed out on the move, and then you took a few losses, and now you start to spiral out of control. Don't let that happen, please. Don't let that happen. It's the worst thing you could do. The worst thing you could do is let yourself spiral into revenge trading on a Friday because you took a few losses, and then you end up blowing all of your profits on the week, and now you have to sit through the weekend and wait until Monday to trade again, and now that's all you can think about all weekend. So try your best not to do that. We're still very green on the week, guys. Still very green. At least I am, and I hope you are too if you've been focusing on your risk management. You should be very green on the week. So, again, it is what it is. I would like to have caught that move. I would have liked if I held that position, but I didn't. And that's the decision I made, so I'm living with it. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I'm going to call it here, and I'll still look at the market, and I'll still see if I want to take one more trade throughout the day. But if I don't, I'm okay with that. I'll take my loss. Keeping my risk management tight. I didn't add into one full position today, guys. Just remember that. I didn't take one full position. Yes, you can message. Yeah, send a message. Right, I was trying to size down a little bit today. And that's typically what I do on Fridays anyway, so. Overall, I know it's never fun to end the week red if you are going to end the week red. But you got to think about the whole week together. The fact that we ended the entire week green that's what's important. All right, so I think I'll call it here. One last thing I do want to touch on. For those of you that do find yourself getting upset over losing days, think about it as the whole scope. If you have been trading with me since I started this Discord, for those of you, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted something yesterday. I think this is our 10th week that we just finished of this Discord. We've had one losing week over the 10 weeks. We've had 2 break even, and the rest of the weeks have been green, guys, winning weeks. So just think about it in the long term, as in the whole scope of things. Don't let one red day let you give all of your profits back from the past weeks just because you got so mad about one bad day. So that's what I'll say. Let's keep our momentum, winning momentum on our weeks continuing. Let's continue that momentum. Continue to trade well and not let these losing days take control of our emotions. So that's what I'll leave you with. I do hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you stay safe. Hope you really enjoy yourself. Do some journaling if you need to. Next week, I'll send out a schedule. For our trading next week. It is going to be different. It's going to be a different schedule for this next week because of the holiday. Because of the holiday, we're going to see a lot of different stuff. So I'll send out a schedule this weekend. The market, I'm not expecting it to be amazing. I think Monday and Tuesday could offer us something good, but I would expect Wednesday not to be the best day. We're still going to have a session and still trade or look to trade. Thursday obviously is the 4th, so we won't be trading. Friday, we probably won't be trading Friday. It's the day before a weekend. It's a Friday, and it's the day after a holiday. I think the price action is probably going to be awful. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will probably be our schedule for next week. And I'll just keep you updated with what it's looking like. I'll send out a revised schedule for you guys so you're aware before before Monday starts. But yeah, appreciate you so much. God bless all of you. I will see you. I'll probably talk to you throughout this weekend. But if not, I'll see you on Monday. All right, guys. Enjoy yourselves this weekend. Peace out. Thanks, guys.